Thanks very much for your attention. I'm really sorry I can't be there in person. I'm at the MedTech conference in Philadelphia. It's probably the largest medical device conference in the country this year. And my name is Matt Maltese. I'm an engineer. I've been at CHOP for 15 years, and I help clinicians like you develop medical devices. This, what you see on the slide here, is an overview of a consortium that I run called the Philadelphia Pediatric Medical Device Consortium. The consortium was started back in 2013 by myself and Dr. Robert Levy, who's in cardiology. We had been working together on med device development for some time, and the FDA put out a request for proposals asking for experienced medical device developers to create consortia, nonprofit consortia, to help in the development of medical devices for kids. And so we threw in an application and we got it. And we've been working for 5 years. That funding expired, and we put in a second application, and we were very fortunate to be among the five consortia around the country that were selected for that. The mission of our consortium is to bring new pediatric medical devices to market, period. We do everything that we do is about bringing the device to market, which means bringing it to be used in patients. We don't take equity. We provide all of the things that we do based upon our funding from the FDA, and so we have no reason to take anything that belongs to you or anyone else with your particular medical device. We're kind of shrewd how we look at things. However, we have some justification to make sure that there's sufficient market size to support the development of the device. This is certainly capitalistic, but it is the reality of the world that we are in right now. And there are pathways to do things that are not particularly attractive from a capitalistic perspective, but most of everything we do has to stand the test of market size versus the costs to get to market. We have quite a large structure that I just go over very quickly. We have two groups here that are really the core of it. This clinical and scientific advisor committee are very experienced clinicians who evaluate each medical device that we propose to work on. They validate basically the unmet need, and they validate the scientific capability or the scientific integrity of the idea. If it looks like basically that the device won't work, we don't work on it. Or if it looks like it will work, but there really isn't a good unmet need, we don't work on it. The oversight committee consists of businessmen and women who have extensive experience in bringing pediatric devices to market. One example, John Barr here. He's the CEO or former CEO of AGA Medical, which is the company that commercialized the atrial septal defect closure device that was eventually sold. And so all of these people have extensive experience in that space. We also have a collaboration with the University of Pittsburgh, and so if the resources that we need are not here, they're also available there too. We help by basically two ways. We provide in-kind support by providing regulatory advising or help with clinical trials or other things that you see here. If the text is bigger, that means that's the kind of thing we do the most of, but it doesn't mean that we're unable to do all of the other things that are shown here. We also provide funding up to $50,000 in an annual competition. We have a competition, and the other four consortia each have a competition, so there are many opportunities to get influx of cash early in a project to get it off the ground. As I mentioned earlier, our projects come from all over the country, in fact, all over the world. We don't care where pediatric devices come from. We just want the best device for kids. But not surprisingly, most of our devices come from Pennsylvania. And this is really crucial when we look at whether or not we're going to give funding or assistance to a device, we really want to see a strategic pathway that lasts maybe 5, 6, or 7 years into the future that includes critical steps along the way of how our funding will lead to the next level of funding or the next accomplishment that moves the device down the medical device pathway. We really benefit from living in the Philadelphia region. There's been a I don't know, a med tech revolution that's happened here in the city. There's been a big crop of medical device prototype manufacturers that have come here. There are a greater amount of funding that is here now. There's some of the universities have turned around and really shaken up how they do innovation to allow for more innovation to happen. So it's really a very exciting time to be working in medical device development in Philadelphia. It's also really exciting time from an FDA perspective. They are easier to work with than they have ever been in before, and many of us who have been in med devices for a long time really are very pleased with how the FDA is handling device approvals. They're extremely proactive and collaborative in a way that they've never been like before. This is a variety of devices that we've worked on, and this is really just to show you that we work on any device with any sort of etiology, not just critical care devices. This is for distraction during facial bone surgery. This is for early assessment of derangements in eyesight. This is for urinary reflux detection without the need for expensive radiology, and so forth. And of course, these are just some of the devices we've worked on. We've worked on 60 total. This is in particular, this is something we're working on within our own department. This is a collaboration that we're involved with Jorge Galvez to make oral airways. But really what we're trying to do is to do additive manufacturing or 3D printing at the point of care. This was a side project funded by the Food and Drug Administration with support from Solvay, which is a leading polymer company, global polymer company that allows us to make ultra high strength polymers that are biocompatible. So this is a very exciting project in terms of the ability to provide small medical devices or medical devices that are specific to a patient's anatomy. We have gone through a great effort to create a sense of community around pediatric medical devices. This is an example of our website where you can sign up and have a membership in the PPDC. The membership is free, but it gives you access to many things that are associated with the community, such as being able to find out about funding opportunities around the country, news from the FDA and others from around the country, and the ability to search our online member databases for like-minded folk who may be able to help you. Well, that's all I have. If you really have any questions or want to talk to me further, my email address is my last name, Maltese, at email.chop.edu, and I look forward to hearing from you about your ideas for medical devices. Thank you.